Alright, so there's something I do want to talk about that's very important. I looked into psychology. Um, Let me light up a cigarette. Wrong lighter. Shit. Okay, I'm fine. There it is. Alright, so this really scares me too. Alright, it's very serious. Um, so I looked into a lot of psychology stuff, not very deeply, um, not as like something I wanted to learn so deeply because I had to conquer my fears to be able to handle and process such things in the first place. So a lot of my work has been self taught through learning so many various things and paying attention to people that uh, I picked up on a lot of stuff, and it correlates into psychology as well. Uh, but I feel like psychology rejects a lot of stuff from transcendent reality and neuroplasticity and how a person subjectively molds their own mind. So um, there's a lot of deep aspects to that, and maybe some people will catch on or not on what uh, understanding I've grasped onto and explain it even more thoroughly than I have. But there is a very bad type person out there that will use all of this information for very bad stuff. And I know that because I've run into those types of people. They're very smart. They're not stupid, and they are very good at pretending or very good at twisting things around and making it where even if it's through miscommunication, um, some people, these aren't very evil people, but they're pretty bad people because they're kind of like a narcissist where they'll twist things around on you based upon how your feelings operate, such things. And they won't understand your feelings, but if they do understand and they intentionally do these things, then that makes them very evil. And a lot of people try and ignore their opposition so that they don't understand those things. And this makes even me a very dangerous person. Now, when I devolved myself into my crossroads, it was because I had reached a point where I closed off so much that I was going to give up on love. And I was going to close down entirely and just give up on people. And I knew that if I didn't kill myself, that I would go a very bad route. And I would become very good at being very evil. And I just knew people too well. Uh, I I looked too deeply, you know. I looked too deeply at things. And there's people that do that, and uh, they're very smart. And that's the thing is like they're very smart people. Probably even smarter than me. Uh, this is a game to them, and even to me, this is a game, and I am playing the game against those people. Um, it's it's it kind of goes back into religion for me as well because some of these people might be Luciferian. A lot of them probably are. Uh, a lot of them are cultic, um, or ideologues that will do anything to get their way. And when they come to uh, the realization that perhaps their worldview and their axioms within science and neurology and psychology is very lacking or ignorant of certain aspects of reality, which may be intentional. Um, I think a lot of it comes from not correlating all of reality together, including especially transcendent reality. And when all of this comes together and develops a fully developed person, if it was a bad person, then they would be uh, pretty much genius level manipulative. And uh, even I would have a tremendous amount of trouble discerning them. Um, it's just a very, very dangerous thing in the world. And there's people like this that are much smarter than we are, much more adept at what they do uh, with people. Um, they've studied it even more than I have, and they've practiced very, very extensively on all the things that they do. And not only do they not care about people, they would intentionally see people hurt, killed, murdered, uh, many things, and ultimately, they don't even care too much about the direction the world goes, except that they, uh, like a sociopath, a psychopath, that they enjoy all of all of what even evil has to offer in its intense intensities. Like, growing up, you might have seen some shock videos, and there's a morbid curiosity there that is like gut wrenching and stuff. There's people, they love that, they enjoy it, and they want more of it. And it's not like you feel that terribleness. It would be more like they have gotten to the point where they don't even feel that. They enjoy it, like maybe a video game or something. And, you know, they would be willing to pretend anything and do anything and express anything and control all of their emotions uh, very, very extensively to be able to do uh, whatever they want in life, And that is a type of person. It really is. And, um, you know, they there is always a slip up. There is no way to maintain that fakeness inauthentically. And there's easy ways to tell if you actually develop yourself into a decent person holistically, and wholesome, like the things you enjoy, the way you respond to things emotionally. There's so many subtle things that no matter how smart you are, no matter how much of a genius you are, you can't mimic that. But there is those types of people where they can pretend very, very well. And uh, it's a very rare person, I would say. And they probably control a lot. And they, uh, I would say those are the people that have manipulated society into what it is today. And maybe even intentionally so far as defining modern axioms away from transcendent reality and various things to uh, control society and different things. Because to me, the world I see, we live in a dystopia, um, even in America. Uh, there, even, well, in a lot of even third world countries, or maybe Venezuela or um, the Philippines, those people have suffered enough to where they've woken up to reality, and they live within reality. And foreigners, a lot of foreigners in very many places, they're very perceptive of reality and the falsities in it. But there is some things that have been defined as modern axioms that have really even taken hold in those places globally. And I feel like a lot of it works from a basis of ignorance, like, pinning things on genetics, or like, that's just the way your brain is. That's uh, something that they don't even understand the brain. They don't understand genetics at all, and that's a cop out. They will never find any information deeper about that, because all of it goes back into the mind, the consciousness, cognizance, uh, emotional maturity, your feelings about various things, your beliefs, and all of these things that will define a person and who they are and how they operate and manage all of this stuff, and the control and all of the things that are internal that they would like to control. So I would say that a lot of that is due to the modern axioms that say God doesn't exist. Um, Transcendent perceptions aren't uh, applicable, and it's just very, very dangerous. And this has started within atheism because the intellectuals and scientists that are studying these things don't even believe in that from the first place. But whether you believe in evolution or creation, this is going to go back into this. We were, we are naturally inclined into believing these things, and it is the only mode of operation that is natural. You have to have both sides, and if you don't, then you are going to be massively confused, massively misunderstanding all of reality, trying to cling to just materialism, because that cannot explain things that are so infinitely complex that you simply cannot explain it. Not in any way that will be functional within reality. So the subjectivity, subjective mind, materialism, that doesn't operate properly, and that's where you're getting a lot of mental problems, mental illnesses, lack of control, lack of sexual control. Things becoming so prevalent that destroy civilizations throughout all of history continually. That when you fall away from that understanding and culture and various things that would fulfill a person, that it all falls apart. And you know, uh, I think a lot of it is very intentional. And for me, I see that God notices that and destroys this civilization, like intentionally, just to keep it from spreading and taking over the whole world and becoming basically the worst imaginable dystopia that you could imagine. Things that authors write about, and things that should be traumatizing and terrifying to anybody, even the crazy people that are trying to do this stuff, or the evil people, you know? Um, so the thing is somebody like that could take all the wrong information or all the right information, twist it around, and really, really manipulate somebody, no matter what their worldview might be. And it would take somebody who has progressed to a certain level, maybe even passed further than what I understand now, maybe to actually discern that and be able to realize what somebody's doing. So um, it's a very scary thing to me. And, that's why I was going to kill myself, because I would have rather went to hell and suffered for eternity than become a bad person. Um, that bad, you know, because I never wanted to be bad. I never wanted to be evil. Um, so I would have just opted out and took my loneliness and suffering and took it with me. And that's probably why I didn't kill myself. Because, you know, I really just wanted love, to be open, to be happy, and all these things. And, uh, you know, some people might be around those points. And I would say, don't lose hope. Um, that not everything is really how it appears when you're feeling certain ways. And, you know, there is hope. If I'm any example, um, I've been through so many things that seemed like mental illness or some kind of mental complexes that, uh, you know, I look something up and I match up like so many different things, and I'm like, wow, you know, I was fucked. I was really messed up in that, and um, a lot of it was different phases too. That's the thing; it gets very, very complicated. Um, I would say, uh, be careful what kind of information you accept because it'll hold you into a box. And, you know, the mind can't be boxed in, especially by people who are working from ignorance and not understanding things fully. And, you know, take take all sides fairly, even if it's confusing and even if it causes anxiety or causes, you know, confusion where you don't know what's true and what's not. That's better than accepting a truth that is false. It's better than being deceived. Um, because for me, you know, I believe Satan's out there, demons even, deceiving people. And maybe they're not so obvious. Um, but, you know, it says we are in combat against uh, spiritual things, principalities, authorities, and rulers of the world that um, control and they manifest uh, destruction of societies. And that's what I've seen throughout history. And they deceive. And, you know, I would even say up to the point where perhaps all those other religions was God trying over and over and over and over to get society to a point that, you know, everything could come out, but, you know, people couldn't catch on. You know, people kept getting deceived and confused and failing up to the point where he would have to end things before they got too far. Otherwise, um, you know, what possibilities are present right now with, you know, potential globalism and terrible dystopia could manifest very rapidly. Um, and all it takes is one really, really, really smart person who actually understands things pretty well to be able to twist them and manipulate people's emotions to a point where the advantage can be taken, even on a global scale. Because, I mean, uh, especially with an atheism, and uh, it's a very dangerous thing where even an atheist shouldn't be so trusting because chances are you're going to be the lower in the hierarchy and you're going to be controlled by some fucked up people. Like, look at celebrities. They're pretty screwed up people. Um, Even the better ones aren't even that great, you know? And you look, like I said, with other artists and stuff, You look at their lyrics, you look at the things that they're actually talking about, warning people about. Uh, you look at the stuff movies are portraying, or the narratives, or the story plot, the warnings that they have within, portraying transcendent evil stuff, like, you know, the common narrative that uh, there's enslaved population that is trying to overcome elite, and maybe sometimes they can't succeed, but usually they succeed. But they portray all of these things so unrealistically, and people can't really understand how that correlates into reality because they don't believe that it is something that is actually real in the first place. And there is thousands upon thousands of little things that have really, I'd say, confused people about how reality actually is, how humans actually are, and how evil actually manifests and looks like, and how good actually manifests and looks like, or love, or compassion, or empathy, or the lack thereof of all those things, and how somebody would portray certain things for their self-benefit, their self-interest, their own motivations, their own, things like that. And people don't actually, I'd say, understand all of that. But it's a very scary prospect. And anybody can do it, even me. Um, Anybody smart enough, if they just sit there and make sense of everything long enough. And it should scare you. Uh, it really scares me. And that's one reason why I see the world going the way it's probably going to go. I mean, albeit I have my religious inclinations that things are going to go a certain way no matter what, and that this might be the time that is most optimal for that. I also think that things could turn around. I believe, well, and I hope that things could turn around. Uh, that's also why I'm here. I'm willing to sacrifice my life for this, for God's path, and that is a lot of why I have been discussing all these things so that they are documented, and so hopefully it gains traction and other people catch on and either share my message or come out with their own truths, or maybe co-opt, um, do what they need to do in their own little bubbles of influence to hopefully wake people up to the gravity of the situation the world is in right now. Because it's no different than, say, Nazi Germany. It's no different than any other ideological warfare that has gone on in history. And this has been going on since the ancient days. It's all just based around ignorance and uh, lack of knowledge, maybe, lack of wisdom, lack of emotional understanding sometimes. There's things that uh, make it hard to uh, avoid conflict. So, um, I would just say uh, this is the time to learn, the time to study, the time to simplify things back down into what you actually know and what you can verify or make sense of that isn't actually, you know, working from a basis of ill feelings towards any particular person, that you're making sense of people as individuals, um, trying to understand them and every little subsection of people that you might come across. Instead of like wrong and right, it's, you have your own perceptions and different things like that. That way, when things do get out of hand, if they do, if people don't just wake up and, you know, think, this could be something that catches on like wildfire. Or it could be something that, like I said, somebody would twist around everything that would, even if this caught on like a wildfire, it could be manipulated in a way that would be used for evil to further the goals of some of us. That if somebody smart enough, like me, understood more and spread that and got it out there enough to where the world became in agreement of the understanding and perceptions and maybe new, well-developed axioms of the future that uh, an even smarter, more well managed person, uh, or maybe lesser in some ways, but at least that somebody could manipulate it and use it to bring things into a bad direction. That's why I said in another video that there could be a Hitler-esque type person that brings things towards uh, conflict and stuff like that, but they could also bring it towards peace to pretty much instill the reality that they would want to eventually corrupt or control or develop a hierarchy. Because eventually, a lot of stuff like this will come out and there will be peace established, but it's probably going to be a false peace, or at least, a peace established through fear, um, or a compromised peace. It's not going to be something that allows people to really be flawed and stuff like that. Uh, Potentially. There's a lot of different directions things could go. But I'd say just be very scared because, uh, I'm willing to die for this, and I'm not scared to step out and put myself on the line just to educate people or get them to understand me. Because I feel like somebody has to do it, and if it's not me, it's going to be someone else. And I'm willing to take that risk to hopefully at least help one person just come to the realizations that they need to progress themselves forward and feel comfortable in the world and lead a happy life. Maybe one that I can't get myself, and just renegotiate the focuses and priorities that people have in life, because this is the end game. It's it's one once in a lifetime life. It's um, everybody out there is unique. Everybody out there is capable. Everybody out there can be happy, enjoy themselves. You know, I'm uh, going through a little bit of hard stuff right now, but you know, I'm going to focus on myself and my happiness and my enjoyment when I'm done with this, until I need to start back up again, because there's only so much information that people need to reorganize with, and there's a lot of it already out there. and it's being able to figure out how to discern it in the first place. Like, Jordan Peterson says some stuff, and then there's a lot of people that he debates with, whether they're atheists or not, or this or that, that they have some good information too. A lot of old philosophers, or ancient wisdom even, that still applies. Wisdom is wisdom. That's the thing. So even if you don't take mine, you should probably take someone else's and figure out what wisdom actually is and how to discern it. Because a lot of people, they aren't at the point, they aren't at the end game of wisdom where their emotions and feelings matter more than being right or wrong. And that's not somebody you should listen to. You should listen to the people that they don't care whether they're right or wrong or what their feelings are. They just want to expose the most advanced view of something and all the subsect views underneath it that simplify it back into that one simple phrase, maybe, you know. Um, and basically, our modern philosophers are music artists and movies, stuff like that. So I would be careful what you watch, how you interpret it, what messages you're picking up, what lessons, and same with the movies, because there's a lot of stuff that's pretty uh, destructive in pop culture. And if you don't want to end up depressed or part of the problem, or a lowly person to most people, like Honey Boo Boo, some trailer park trash people. Um, you know, if you don't want to be established in your own level of ignorance, then you should understand as much as you can about everything. Um, because if you don't, then you really don't have anything to talk about. You don't have any stance of authority except what you do know and what you understand very well and all that. Because a lot of people feel that they know a lot of stuff. And even I only know a general knowledge. I haven't specialized in anything. I'm no expert. I'm no authority. Uh, I've just studied so much of everything. Uh, even trade skills. I've sat there and watched chemistry stuff. I'm never gonna do anything with chemistry. Um, I've studied, you know, stuff about transcendent reality, psychology, neuroscience, to some small degree, politics, ideologies, uh, basically anything to do with cognizance, ancient philosophers, um, different people that have studied into this stuff themselves, that they piece together and piece apart various things. Um, I have another channel that is my private channel that I'm developing a whole list of different videos and information that I can kind of validate the wisdom or authenticity of the knowledge being presented. Some stuff is skewed and biases, and different stuff like that, where you have to be able to discern for yourself what you want to believe. And a lot of that stuff comes down to subjective feelings and different stuff like that, that, maybe through maturity you would come to understand things differently. There's a lot of various stuff when you're exploring all this information that you need to understand what you're doing with yourself and uh, stuff like that. And this is, again, where I came to Christianity because of love, and that made the most sense to me, all in reality. And I feel like it's evident as belief. that it exists for a purpose, with a defined goal that is uh, leads into eternity, and that's where the whole filter comes in, where you're filtering people out or people in, because certain people are gonna choose a different path, and they would never want to change what path they choose. And I can understand that because I almost chose that. So, uh, let me think. Damn, I get tired. And there's another thought I was going off of on that. I guess that's all I have to say about it then. If I can't think of anything else. So again, God bless and be careful.